Hi guys, so today we're going to do the third variant of paper 1 of IGCSE for maths, paper code 0580. So let's see how difficult this paper was. The first question says, write down the number 2,002,002 in figures. So since it says a million, so that means we're going to have 6 digits after 2. So 2 million, and then it's 2,002. So 2002. So this is 2002. And we're supposed to have 6 digits after it. So 2,002,002 is your answer. Question 2 says put one pair of brackets into this calculation to make it correct. So if we put the brackets around 5 plus 4, that gives us 9. So then 9 times 3 plus 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 plus 9 is 36. So as you can see, we're following the rules of BODMAS. First the brackets, then exponents if there are any. Then after that, we do division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Over here, we have multiplication and addition, and they're asking us to add the brackets. So as you can see, if we put the brackets around 5 plus 4, this doesn't work. Now, if you put the brackets around 4 times 3, so that's going to give us 12 plus 5 plus 9, and that's going to be equal to 17 plus 9, and that's 26. Again, that's wrong. Now let's try putting the brackets around 3 plus 9. So 5 plus 4 times 12. 4 times 12 is 48. And 48 plus 5 is going to be 53. So the bracket is going to be around 3 plus 9. Question 3 says simplify 7x minus 8y minus x minus y. So in this case, we're going to collect the like terms. 7x and negative x are like terms, and negative 8y and negative are like terms. So 7x minus x minus 8y minus y is going to be 6x minus 9y. That is your answer. Question 4 says, write 164,703 correct to the nearest thousand. So this is your 1,000. So we're going to round that based on the number that's on the right of 4, which is 7. So 7 is greater than 5, which means we will add 1 to 4, making it 165,000. Then write 16.983 correct to one decimal place. First decimal place is 9. And once again, the number next to it is 8. 8 is again bigger than 5. So we add 1 to 9, which would make it 10. So it's going to be 17.0 correct to one decimal place. Then next part says write 0.037665 correct to two significant figures. So remember that when we're doing significant figure questions, if you have a decimal number and it's beginning with zeros, like in this case, it's beginning with 0, then 37665. So leading zeros do not count as significant figures. If there was 0 in between these numbers, then yes, that would count as a significant figure. Which means we're going to begin with 3. So this is the first significant figure, this is the second. So since the number next to 7 is 6, which is once again greater than 5, we will round 7 to 8. So it's going to be 0.038. This is the number correct to two significant figures. Question 5 says on the diagram, draw any lines of symmetry. So for any lines of symmetry, let's start with the vertical line first. And as you can see, if you draw a horizontal line, it's not divided into two equal parts. So which means we only have one line of symmetry. Part B says write down the order of rotational symmetry of this shape. As you can see, this is a equilateral triangle because all sides seem equal. So the rotational symmetry of order of an equilateral triangle is 3. Question 6 says write these numbers in order starting with the smallest. So let's convert all of these in decimals. 0.45 is already in decimals. 42% is going to be 0.42. 4/11 is going to be 0.36 and 205 is 0.4. So now as you can see, 0.36 is the smallest, which makes 4/11 the smallest. Then we have 0.4, which is 2/5. Then we have 42%. And lastly, 0.45. In such questions, always convert the numbers in the same format for decimals because that's the easiest one, or you could do percentages or fractions. Question 7 says the base of cuboid measures 10 centimeter by 7 centimeters. The volume of the cuboid is 280 centimeter cube. Calculate the height. So now talking about the volume of a cuboid, the formula is length times width times height. So 280 equals to 10 by 7 by h. So I'm trying to find the value of h. 280 equals to 70 times h. Divide 280 by 70. And that's going to be 4 centimeters. That is your height. Question 8 says, in a city, the probability that it will rain today is 0.15. Find the probability that it will not rain today in this city. So keyword being not rain. So probability of any event happening is like equal to 1, like the entire event. So for this, like in a day, the probability of that day is 1. So in that day, it can either rain or not rain. So since the probability of raining is 0.15, probability of not raining would be 1 minus 0.15, which is equal to 0.85. Question 9 says, one day the temperature in Tokyo is negative 5 degrees Celsius and the temperature in Manila is 18 degrees Celsius. Work out the difference between these two temperatures. So it's going to be 18 minus negative 5. When you subtract a negative integer from positive integer, basically we're adding them. So it becomes 18 plus 5. And that is going to be 23 degrees Celsius. Then it says the temperature in Tokyo rises by 4 degrees Celsius. Find the new temperature in Tokyo, which means we're adding positive 4 to negative 5, and that equals to negative 1. So the new temperature in Tokyo is negative 1 degree Celsius. Question 10 says, these are the first 4 terms of a sequence. Write on the next term. So first, let's see if there's a common difference between all of the terms. So we know that 3 plus 7 is 10. 17 is also 10 plus 7. And 24 is 17 plus 7. So we have a common difference of 7. So for the next term, it's going to be 24 plus 7, which is equal to 31. Then it says write down the term-to-term rule for counting the sequence. So as I've said before, when you're trying to find the nth term of any sequence, we first find the common difference. Since we've already found the common difference, which is given as 7, you will multiply the common difference by n. Now, if this common difference is being added, you keep the 7n positive. If this common difference is being subtracted, you make it negative 7n. Since in this case, we're adding and the sequence is increasing in value, which means it's going to be positive 7n. Now, if we use positive 7n as the nth term, let's see what the first term is going to be. So 7 times 1, which is 7. First term is 3 in the sequence, and what we have is 7. So in order to turn 7 into 3, we will subtract 4 from the nth term, which gives us 3. Now let's see if 7n minus 4 gives us the same number as the third term in the sequence. So that's 21 minus 4, and that is 17, which is correct. Hence, the nth term is 7n minus 4. Part B says these are the first 4 terms of another sequence. Write down the next 2 terms of the sequence. So now, if you compare this sequence to the other one, in that case, the values were increasing as you were moving ahead in the sequence. Now, the values are decreasing. So between 16 and 14, there's a difference of -2. 14 and 11, there's a difference of -3. And between 11 and 7, there's a difference of -4, which means in the next case, we will subtract 5 from 7. Why? Because we're subtracting consecutive integers. So 7 minus 5, and that's going to be 2. And then 2 minus 6, which is going to be -4. So 2 and -4. Once again, we're subtracting consecutive integers from each term. 16 minus 2 is 14. 14 minus 3 is 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. So 7 minus 5 is going to be 2. And 2 minus 6 is going to be -4. In these questions, you just have to recognize the pattern and then solve it accordingly. Question 11 says the diagram shows an isosceles triangle. Find the value of x. So it's an isosceles triangle, which means we have 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. These 2 lengths are equal, which means these 2 angles are also going to be equal. Sum of angles in a triangle equals to 180. So 180 equals to x plus 36 plus 36, which is basically equals to 72. So 180 minus 72 equals to x, which gives us 108 degrees as our answer. Question 12 says the diagram shows a cuboid. On the 1 centimeter square grid, complete a net of this cuboid. One face has been drawn for you. 6 by 2 by 3. This is going to be by 3. This is again going to be by 3. And there's another by 2 because it's going to be the top. So these are the side faces. This is the top. And now this is going to be our side. So this is 3 by 2 and 3 by 2. That is your net for this cuboid. Question 13 says factorize completely. So we have an expression which is 4x squared y minus 5xy squared. So if you notice, between both the terms, we have x and y common. So I'm going to take xy common outside. And inside the bracket, we'll have 4x minus 5y. The reason we have 4x minus 5y inside the bracket is because when we take x common from the first term, we're left with 4 and x. Because it's just one y, so that y is gone. And from 5xy, we take away 1x and 1y. So that leaves us with 1y and another 5. So this is your answer. Question 14 says the scale of a map is 1:40,000. On the map, the distance between 2 villages is 37 centimeters. Calculate the actual distance between the 2 villages. So this is 1 centimeter to 40,000. And we have 37 centimeters as the distance on the map. We have to find the actual distance. So what we will do is find the actual distance. We can simply multiply 37 with 40,000, which will give us 148, and then 0, 0, 0. So this is the distance in centimeters. So now we have to give the distance in We have to give the distance in kilometers. So for that, we're going to divide this 1,040,000 by 100,000. Why? Because 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 1 kilometer in centimeters is going to be 100,000 centimeters. So since we're converting the centimeters into kilometers, going from a smaller to a bigger unit, so we divide 1,040,000 by 100,000, and that is going to give us 14.8 kilometers. That is your answer. Question 15 says, without using a calculator, work out 3/7 minus 1/14. So whenever we are subtracting or adding, unlike denominators, what we do is that we have to make the denominators equal. So we know that 7 and 14 both come in the 7 times table. So we can easily multiply the first fraction by 2. This gives us 6/14 minus 1/14. Now that both the denominators are equal, we can easily solve the numerators. So 6 minus 1/14, which is 5/14. And that is your answer in simplest form. Question 16 says the price of a game increases from $48 to $56.40. Calculate the percentage increase in the price. So for the percentage increase, the formula that you'll use is new value minus old value divided by the old value times 100. So new value is 56.4, old value is 48. Substitute the values in the formula. And when you solve it, what you should be getting is 17.5%. That is your percentage increase in the price. Question 17 says diagram shows a right angle triangle. Calculate AB. So to calculate AB, we need to see what information we have. We have the hypotenuse. Always remember that the diagonal is your hypotenuse. We have the angle and we need to find AB. So let's label it as X. So in this case, we can't apply Pythagoras because for Pythagoras, we need 2 lengths. And right now we just have 1. So to find the missing length, the only way we can solve it is to use SOHCAHTOA. So for SOHCAHTOA, we need to see what information we have. We have the hypotenuse, which means we can either use SO or CA, not TOA. So tangent is out of our options. Now between sine and cosine, we need to see, do we have the opposite or do we have the adjacent? Or do we need to find the opposite or adjacent? As you can see, 37 lies on the length AB, which we're trying to find. The length on which the angle lies is always your adjacent. So that means sine is also out of our options, and what we can use is cosine. So cos of 37 equals to adjacent, which is x, and hypotenuse, which is 8. So 8 times cos of 37. Whenever you have a fraction and you're trying to find the value of the term in the numerator, you cross multiply and get rid of the fraction. So that gives us 8 cos 37. And when you solve it, what you should be getting is 6.39 centimeters. That's your AB. Question 18 says the length S meters of a ship is 83 meters, correct to the nearest meter. Complete the statement about the value of S. So our degree of accuracy is nearest meter. So we do 1 divided by 2. Whatever the degree of accuracy is divided by 2. And that gives us 0.5 meters. So now to get the upper bound, you will add 0.5 to 83. And to get the lower bound, you will subtract 0.5 from 83. So that's going to be 83.5. And that's going to be 82.5 meters. So it's bigger than 82.5, but smaller than 83.5. That is your answer. Question 19 says solve the simultaneous equations. So now if we look at the system of simultaneous equations, we can see that W has the same coefficient in both the equations, which means we can easily use elimination method to solve this. So when you're using elimination method, first, obviously you need to pick the variable that you want to eliminate. I would like to eliminate W over here. Then you have to see whether the coefficients of the variable that you want to eliminate are equal or not. So in my case, since I'm trying to eliminate W, the coefficients of W are 2 in both the equations, which means it's very easy to just eliminate W as compared to eliminating T, because for T, the coefficients are not equal, which means there's like 4 steps for that calculation. So going back to W, since the coefficients are equal, now we look at the sign. In the first equation, 2W is negative. In the second equation, 2W is positive. So in order to get rid of 2W, we will add the two equations. So when we add the two equations, 5T plus 3T is 8T, and negative 2W plus positive 2W is 0. And 19 plus 5 is 24. So 8T equals to 24. T equals to 24 divided by 8, and that is equal to 3. Now for W, you will substitute the value of T in either of the equations. I'm going to pick the second equation because that's simpler to solve and, less time consuming. So 3 times 3 plus 2W equals to 5. 9 plus 2W equals to 5. 2W is 5 minus 9, which is negative 4. So W is going to be negative 4 divided by 2, and that is negative 2. So W is negative 2 and T is 3. That is your answer. Question 20 says the diagram shows the positions of 3 towns A, B, and C. Angle ABC is given as 103. The bearing of town B from A is 48. So this is 48. Town C is due east of town A. Find the bearing of town C from town B. So this is what we have to find. So firstly, we can easily find this angle because this is a right angle. So 48. So 90 minus 48 is going to be 42. And we can find angle C by subtracting 103 and 42 from 180. So that's going to give us 35 over here. So this is 35. So if we draw a line over here and over here, these two knots are parallel lines. And if you remember, in parallel lines, alternate angles are equal, which means this part of the angle is also 35. So to find the bearing, we can easily do 90 plus 35, because this is a 90-degree angle over here because I'm drawing a straight line. So 90 plus 35 is going to be 125. So 125 degrees is your bearing of town C from town B. Question 21 says that we have a universal set of 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 12, 16, and 64. Set C is cube numbers and set S is square numbers. You have to complete the Venn diagram and find the number of C union S. So cube numbers are 64, 8, and 1. 1 is also a square number. So since that's a common element, so that comes in the middle. 64 and 8 come over here. Now for square numbers, we have 4, we have 9, and we have 16. So outside we'll have 5 and 12. That's your answer. Then for number of C union S, that's all the elements in C and S. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 elements. So 6 is your answer. Part B says on this Venn diagram, shade the region A intersection B. So intersection is the middle common part. So that's going to be this. Question 22 says write these numbers in standard form. So 0.07 is going to be 7.0 times 10 to the power of -3, because we move the decimal 3 places to the right. So that's your answer for this one. Then for 700 million, we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to be 7 times 10 to the power of 8. Part B says calculate 3200 times 5.4 times 10 to the power of -3 divided by 4.8 times 10 to the power of -4, giving your answer in standard form. So what you will do is that you will solve, you can easily plug this thing in your calculator, and what you should get at is 36,000. Now 36,000 in standard form is going to be 3.6 times 10 to the power of 4. Why? Because you move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. Next question says, the diagram shows a spherical tank with radius 0.5 meters and a cylindrical jug with diameter 24 centimeters and height 32 centimeters. The tank is full of water. Calculate how many times the jug can be completely filled with water from the tank. The volume of the sphere with radius r is 4/3 pi r cubed. So what we're going to do over here is that we're going to find the volume of both the sphere and the cylinder first. So volume 1, which is for the sphere, that's going to be 4/3 times pi times. Now, radius is given as 0.5 meters, and this is in centimeters. So I'm going to convert the meters into centimeters. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 0.5 meters is going to be 0.5 times 100. And that is 50 centimeters. So times 50 cube. And that equals to 523, 598.78 centimeter cube. Now volume 2, which is going to be the volume of the cylinder, that's pi r square h. So pi times r square, which is going to be 12, because diameter is 24, so radius is 12, times height, which is 32. And that gives us 14,476.46 centimeter cube. Okay. The question was saying calculate how many times the jug can be completely filled with water from the tank. This is your tank, this is sphere, and this is your jug. So to figure that out, we'll divide both the volumes, tank divided by the jug. So volume 1 divided by volume 2. And that is going to be equal to 36.17, which can be rounded to 36. So approximately 36 times the jug can be completely filled with the water from the tank.